He saw the message 30 seconds before his world collapsed. Not because he was looking. Not because he suspected anything. His wife's phone just happened to be on the kitchen counter. The screen flickered, and, out of habit, while pouring coffee, he glanced at it. The sender's name, Mark. The text, "I dreamed about you last night. I'm still thinking about you." Coffee splashed onto the floor. Hot. Bitter. Just like the feeling flooding his chest. David froze. His fingers gripped the edge of the counter until his knuckles turned white. He didn't read further. He didn't need to. That single line was enough to shatter everything he believed was unbreakable: their marriage, their home, their 15 years together. All of it was a facade. And behind it? A stranger's shadow, a stranger's hands, whispering words that should have belonged only to him. He didn't yell. He didn't smash the phone. He simply set his mug down, wiped his hands on his jeans, and walked out to the backyard. There, beneath the old oak tree where he and Lena had once buried a time capsule filled with notes about their dreams, he sat on the bench and closed his eyes. There was no rage in his head. Only silence. Cold. Thick. Like ice on a January lake. And in that silence, one question. How long has this been going on? Lena came home at 7 that evening as usual. She smiled, kissed him on the cheek, asked how his day went. He answered calmly. Politely. Served dinner, baked chicken with vegetables, her favorite. She chatted about work, the neighbors, how they needed new sheets. He nodded, ate, even smiled. Everything as always. But inside, emptiness. And a plan. He wasn't going to make a scene. He didn't want tears, excuses, or that tired line. It didn't mean anything. He knew, if she'd lied once, she'd lie again. And he was tired of being the one lied to. The next morning, while Lena showered, he slipped into her home office and turned on her laptop. He knew the password, their wedding date. In 5 minutes, he copied everything: messages, photos, calendar entries marked lunch with M, and evening at the gallery. Even the hotel reservation in Charleston last month, the one she claimed was for a work conference. He didn't delete anything. Just saved a copy to an external drive and hid it in the garage behind a toolbox. Then he waited. Revenge isn't a scream. Revenge is smiling while your eyes hold a desert. David knew Lena was planning a weekend in Nashville in 2 weeks. With the girls, she'd said. He nodded, even offered to help book it. She declined, already taken care of. He didn't push. Instead, he called his old college friend Tom, now a private investigator. They'd reconnected a couple of years ago by chance at the airport. Tom mostly handled marital cases now. I need to know where she's going, who she meets, and where she stays, David said without preamble. You sure? Tom asked. I don't trust my own eyes anymore. I need proof. All right. But remember, once you see the truth, there's no going back. That road's already gone. The weekend began Friday night. Lena left in a taxi with her suitcase and a smile. David waved from the window, just like always. Then he got in his car and drove to Tom's office. She's at the Hermitage Hotel, Tom said, handing him a tablet. Double room. Booked under her name and Mark Rivers. On the screen, a photo. Lena and a man in his 40s, wearing jeans and a linen shirt, stepping out of a restaurant. She was laughing, leaning into him. Mark's hand rested on her waist. David didn't look away. He studied every detail. Her earrings, the ones he'd given her for their 10th anniversary. His watch, expensive, clearly not off the rack. Their posture, far too intimate for just friends. They're staying through Sunday, Tom added. Dinner at a wine bar tomorrow. Then most likely back to the room. Thanks, David said. I've already paid you. You planning something? No. Just making sure I'm ready. He didn't go to Nashville. Didn't storm the hotel lobby. Instead, he went home and started packing. Not his things. Hers. He knew about her secret stash, an old suitcase in the closet behind winter coats. Inside were her private things, journals, photos, gifts from her parents. He carefully removed everything that was hers alone and packed it into boxes. Then the wardrobe, her dresses, shoes, makeup. Anything that wasn't theirs. He left the furniture, dishes, books untouched. Only what was hers. By Sunday evening, an hour before her return, he was done. 4 neat boxes and a suitcase sat in the living room. On the table, house keys and a note. Take your things. I don't want to see you here again. Don't call. Don't write. We're done. Then he left. Dropped his car at a friend's, rented another, and drove to a quiet hotel in the next town. There, in a room overlooking the river, he finally let himself cry, for the first time in 2 weeks. Lena returned at midnight. Tired. Happy. Sun-kissed. Wearing a new necklace. She opened the door, tossed her bag in the hallway, and froze. Too quiet. David, she called. No answer. She walked into the living room and saw the boxes. Then the note. First shock. Then panic. She grabbed her phone and dialed his number. Ringing. Then voicemail. She called again. And again. Sent dozens of texts. What happened? Talk to me. I'll explain everything. He never replied. The next day, she showed up at his office. His assistant said he'd taken personal leave. Colleagues had no idea where he was. A week later, she hired a lawyer. Filed for divorce first, irreconcilable differences. But in court, David appeared in person. No attorney. Just stood up, placed a flash drive on the table and said, all the proof of her affair is here. I'm not asking for money. I don't want her assets. But the house is mine. We bought it before we married. And I want her gone without a public fight. The judge looked at the drive, at Lena, at David. Then nodded. If both parties agree to an uncontested divorce with no property disputes, case closed. Lena walked out of the courtroom with nothing. No house. No explanations. No forgiveness. 6 months passed. David sold the house. Bought a small cottage by the lake. Started fishing at dawn. Got a dog, a Labrador named Willow. Sometimes met friends. Sometimes didn't. He wasn't looking for love. Just learning how to breathe again. And Lena? He heard through mutual acquaintances. She went back to Mark. Briefly. They split after 3 months. He was married. She moved to another state. Started over. But David didn't care. Because revenge isn't about destroying someone else's life. Revenge is rebuilding yours as if their betrayal never existed. And one morning, watching the sunset over the lake, he realized he was free. Not because he'd gotten even, but because he no longer needed revenge at all.